expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Testimonial Monday, and our topic for today is Her Fight is Our Fight. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive FI with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rizal and I discussed deadbeat dad or sexually irresponsible. Go over to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio, stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "A woman is like a tea bag. You cannot tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water." Here are your trending topics for today. Northwest Side fire has claimed the lives of 4 family members in Chicago. The 2 remaining children, a 2-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl who have been hospitalized since the Montclair house fire on Tuesday night, passed away on Friday, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. The blaze also claimed the life of the Chicago Fire Department firefighter Walter Stewart's wife, 36-year-old Summer Day Stewart, who died on Friday, and also the couple's 7-year-old son, Ezra Stewart, died on Wednesday. The fire broke out just after 9 p.m. on the 2500 block of North Rutherford Avenue, officials said. Everyone inside the home suffered severe smoke inhalation. The Chicago Fire Department spokesman, Larry Langford, said that the firefighter at the Truck 55 in Addison Park rushed to the scene after hearing his own address over the scanner. His fellow firefighters huddled around him to show support. The fire inspectors are working on determining the cause of the fire. The investigator would not say whether the fire was intentional or what was the cause of the fire. It also remains under investigation. That is your trending topic for today. I am so grateful for my sponsor on today, who is Emmanuel Church of God in Christ with Pastor Michael Richardson, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
My special guest today is a young, courageous breast cancer survivor whose goal is to tell her story and spread awareness. She knows the importance of being patient and kind to herself while navigating this process. She has surrounded herself with a support system that understands the trauma of dealing with this horrific disease, and she is giving back through awareness. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Lauren Gritt. Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited about this interview on today. I know that you are so excited about just sharing your story, getting that message out there so that you can educate young women, and I'm excited for you.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, I see we have Tabitha already on, and she is sharing the show out. Hey, Tabitha.
Hey, Tabitha.
So I'm excited. Her fight is our fight. And we know when it comes to breast cancer, we normally hear women supposedly over 40, that's so-called the norm when it comes to breast cancer. So to have someone of your age, so young. I think that your message that you're going to get out here to individuals that are in that same age group as you is very important.
Right.
We know that cancer does not discriminate. So I think that your message is going to resonate with a lot of young people on today. So I'm excited about that. Where are you calling? Where are you actually calling in from right now?
I am in Point Pleasant, West Virginia right now.
Yay, West Virginia. I'm excited. Warriors Talk is getting around. Tabitha says, hey. She's tagging people. So, Lauren, I just want to jump right into this interview. I'm going to ask that if you're listening to the show, please like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. So my first question to you is going to be, how were you introduced to the word cancer?
Well, I have always heard the word cancer. My best friend's uncle was diagnosed with cancer, so that hit a little bit close to home because I'm very close with her family. You really don't think it's going to be you until it is, or someone you know. Um, it was just a normal day for me. Um, I had, do you want me to tell like how
Go
it came
ahead.
about? Okay. So it was like October, November of 2021, and I had found a lump on my left breast. I think that it's very important to be self-aware because younger girls or kids in general are very weird sometimes about like just self-examining. I can't say that for myself because I found it myself. I just ignored it for a little bit because I didn't know what a lump was. I mean, I have heard of one, but I didn't know what it felt like or what it looked like. Um, I just knew it felt like different. So I waited a little bit and then it started to grow in size. I could tell that it was getting bigger. So I told my mom and I was like, what is a lump? Like what? And she was like, "What are you talking about? Let me see." So she felt it and she was like, "Yeah, that's not normal." So she made an appointment with my primary care doctor and we went and saw her and she examined me and she was like, "Yeah, that is definitely not normal." So she was like, "I am gonna put you in for an ultrasound." So as soon as I left her office, I'm not kidding, within a second, she called me and she was like, "Head to the hospital, you're getting an ultrasound." So, I went and got an ultrasound done, and the radiologist told me that it was common in girls my age. It would probably just disappear. It might be a caffeine lump. It might just be a clogged milk duct. Like, it'll work itself out. Come back in 6 months. If it's still a problem, then, we'll do a biopsy on it. So that didn't set right with me. I didn't like hearing that. I was already on edge because when my mom started freaking out, that's when I started freaking out. So I was like, okay. So we got a second opinion and I went to Charleston, West Virginia, and I met with the genetics team and I met with a surgeon and we went over my ultrasound pictures and he told me, he was like, "I can tell that it bothers you." He said, "We can minimize the surgeries, skip the biopsy, and just dive straight into a lumpectomy." And I didn't know anything about this, I didn't know risks, nothing. I was just like, you're the doctor, if that's what you think we should do, we're gonna do that. So we scheduled a surgery. I had my lumpectomy. So now I'm waiting on two test results. I'm waiting on genetics and I'm waiting on the results of this tumor that I have. Um, I had my surgery on December 28th. On January 3rd, I got a call that nobody wants. I knew that it was either going to go two ways. It was going to go really good or it was going to go really bad. And he seemed certain that it wasn't cancer. You know, he was like, "You're very young. I don't think that you have anything to worry about." So it didn't ease my anxiety, but at the same time, I was kind of like, it's 50-50 now. So I answered the phone and I was like, "Hold on, let me go get my mom." So we went in there and I sat in her bed. Or no, she came in the living room and I put the phone on speaker and he told me that I had breast cancer at the age of 19 years old. So I was devastated. I couldn't even talk. I had to hand the phone to my mom. I was so upset. It's gonna make me cry talking about it. But he was like, I questioned the pathology results. I went and talked to the pathologist because I was so like, I thought that they had messed up your results, but it turned out to be cancer, invasive ductal carcinoma.
I commend you for when it wasn't sitting right in your spirit that you questioned it. And it's okay to question. It's your health. And you
Right,
have a right to question when it doesn't sit right with you. And for you being proactive and going and get that second opinion. Like some people may be scared to go get the second opinion because they're like, oh, I don't want to hear the same thing twice, or what are
right,
they going to tell me? So they may be scared to do it. So that was a big step for you to take control like that and say, wait a minute, even talking to the pathologist about your report, like how many people do that? I didn't do that. How many
right,
people do that when they have breast cancer? Like, wait a minute, let me just see, let me hear what you thought. Show me exactly what you saw that
right,
that brought you to this conclusion, because sometimes they do make mistakes. So
right.
it's okay to question. It's your body, this is your life. So I commend you for doing that.
Thank you.
I think more people need to do that.
Yeah, I think now looking back, I'm very grateful that I made those decisions because, I've met several women that also were like, when they hear my story, they're like, I wish I would have got a second opinion or third or fourth or however many. So I think it's very important. I know that they're the doctors, so you think, what they say. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm just saying, like, you put your full trust in a doctor. Um, but our fears were, if I wait 6 months, like, what could that do, So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm proud of
I
myself
totally
too.
agree. And we know with cancer, depending on how aggressive it is, it could be moving really fast. So that the
Yeah,
6 months could be life or death. So,
right.
so yeah, I'm glad that you addressed it, that you went with your gut and you didn't sit on it, because they're practicing practitioners. So,
Right.
they could be wrong. So they could be guessing. A lot of times they are meeting with other practitioners and they are maybe typing stuff in a computer to see what comes up, what fits in this group with all these symptoms that this
Right.
person have, and then they agree on something. That's how they come up with your treatment. Is
Yeah.
okay, how many people had these symptoms, and this is a treatment that they gave. This is how it worked, and that's how they come up with these things. So no, I'm glad that you did. Kimberly
Yeah.
Gritt says she loves you.
Yeah, that's my mom.
She says when mama works in the medical field. Yes, that helps. It really does. It helps
Yeah.
to have someone there that, to be by your side, to push you and encourage you and to validate what you're feeling, so that,
Yeah.
you can have that sense of peace inside, knowing that you did everything that you could do to get answers. So
Yeah.
I think that that's important. April said that she need to hear this. And like I said, a lot of young women and even older women need to hear, especially getting that second opinion, going with your gut and not waiting, sitting around waiting
Yeah.
because the doctors say, oh, it may not be something. When they mention the word may, you already know, okay, yeah, I need to be doing something.
Right. Well,
I
not
need to
only
be doing
that, but where I was so young, still am young, I think it's important because when I was in high school, I never would have thought that this would have happened to me. So I think it's very important to be aware because, that didn't even cross my mind.
Brandy says she is so proud of you.
Thank you, Brandy.
How important, Lauren, do you think it is for young women like yourself? How early do you think education should start when it comes to just being breast self-aware?
That's a hard one because, as a younger girl, your body starts to change. So I think probably, I don't know how young you could possibly be to get diagnosed with breast cancer. So I would say, thinking about it right now, maybe puberty wise, like when you start to hit puberty and your body starts to change, to be self-aware starting then. I would hope that nobody that young would be diagnosed with breast cancer, but like I said, you can't ever be too aware. So,
And that's true. It says each year, approximately 70,000 men and women ages 15 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. Breast cancer is also the most common cancer for women in that age group.
right.
So you're right. You can never be overly breast self-aware. I will say that I feel like as you should know how the proper way to do it. Like, I don't know if the doctors need to be teaching it, or maybe
Right.
you could go to like a community group, outreach group that could teach you how to do it, because it could be really scary.
Oh, yeah,
If,
for
yeah,
sure.
if you're at home trying to do that exam yourself, and like you said, the body is constantly changing because you're growing, you're going through puberty, and your body are doing some things, and you're like, wait a minute. So it's good to get to know your body. So when something doesn't feel right, then you can do what you did, and you can go address it, bring it to somebody's attention, and okay, let's see what's going on with this.
Yeah. I do not think that is talked about enough. Like I said, it wouldn't have crossed my mind. So if I wouldn't have went through any of this, I still probably wouldn't be as educated as I am right now.
Do you feel,
Um,
Lauren, do you feel like as a young person that you get dismissed when you have these symptoms that are not so-called age appropriate for you to be having?
yes, I actually do. When I went in for my ultrasound, my mom was trying to push a mammogram, and he told me that where I was so young and my breasts were too dense, I wouldn't, there wouldn't be nothing on there. So, to an extent, yeah, I do feel dismissed in some ways. Um, I just, I just, I don't know. I think, you know, not everyone is gonna understand because they're not in this situation, and I hope that they don't ever have to go through something like this, but I feel like as doctors, you need to look at your patients like they're your family members. If that was your daughter, if that was your niece, so on and so forth. I think that if they looked at their patients that way, then the healthcare system might be a little bit better.
I totally agree, because they're not going to tell their family members to do something that they know is detrimental to their health. So I totally
Exactly.
agree with you on that. According to statistics, it says there is no effective breast cancer screening tool yet for women under 40. This is because most women, like you said, have dense breast tissue that prevents routine mammograms from the screening tool being helpful.
Yeah.
So by them knowing this, if you know that younger women have dense breasts, then I would think somebody should be trying to create something where you would be able to say, or put something in place to say, okay, we know younger women have dense breasts, so maybe they won't get a mammogram, but maybe they could get this type of test,
Right.
that we would be able to see, or, through that dense tissue or whatever,
Yeah.
versus putting them through that mammogram before that age of 40. It should be something in place, not knowing that women younger do get breast cancer, and not just say, oh, well, we can't test you because we don't have anything, or you have to fight and push to get the mammogram because they figure, oh, no, you're not of age to get it, so you don't need it because you shouldn't have breast cancer.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. To an extent, I was dismissed. And I feel like if there was an alternative rather than mammograms for girls younger than 40, 45, whatever it may be, um, maybe without it could be prevented.
I think a lot of young women would opt to do it because for some reason we have made the mammogram seem really scary.
Oh
So,
yeah,
a lot of women don't want to get the mammogram. Even women over the age of 40, they shy away sometimes from the mammogram. So I think if something was in place for women under 40 where they can, monitor their breasts if they're having issues, or if they have dense breasts, or if they have a family history of breast cancer, then they're in some type of monitoring system or program, so at least they could be breast self-aware and not
right.
just waiting until they turn 40 to go and get the mammogram, knowing that they may have issues or be at risk.
Yes, I completely agree.
When you did the genetic testing, Lauren, did it give you a peace of mind moving forward with cancer?
Well, when they went over, they had like charts, charts filled with information. So, as sad as it is that I have genetic genes, I'm kind of glad that I do because it can pinpoint, what cancers I may get in the future. Hopefully not, but and there's action plans that we can take. So if I didn't have the genes, that would just be a guessing point. They wouldn't have known anything. That might have, messed up my chemo plan. It could have messed up a lot of things. Um, the circumstances, sucked to an extent, but um, at least I know what to look for in the future.
So there's a history of family in your cancer. I mean, a
Yes,
history of cancer in your family.
yes.
Is it close, like within your immediate family, or is it like grandparents?
Biological dad.
Okay.
He has the gene. His sister has the gene. I have the gene. My sister and mom don't have it, so that's good.
Are you the first person to do the genetic testing to know, or did they do testing before you?
That I know of, I am the first. I don't really talk to that side of my family, so you know, I immediately had my mom reach out to my family and let them know, so they were able to get tested, and that's how we found that out. So, yeah.
Wow. So that must have been powerful for you to know that you're sharing that information with your family and possibly saving some lives,
Oh,
and
yes,
helping them to be proactive as well.
yes. I was
Yeah.
sad to hear that they had the genes, but at least they know.
At least they'll know. And it's powerful to have that information, like you said, so you know what to do, what type of plan to put in place when it comes to cancer.
Yes.
So you had the support not just of your family, but you have a whole community of individuals. You have a whole page
Oh,
on Facebook.
yeah.
Yes, you have a whole community where you keep them updated. They know what's going on. They cheer you on. I saw pictures on there what they had on their shirts, their cancer shirts, and they were
Yeah.
just wishing you well through your treatment. And when you had your last treatment, I was like, wow, that must have felt
Yeah.
really good to have that
Um,
support.
there has been a couple kids, people in my community that have been diagnosed with cancer, and I am very grateful for Mason County because when we need to pull together, we pull together. Not only Mason County, my girls, Tabitha, in Charleston, West Virginia. I'm very blessed to have them in my life because, I didn't know Tabitha or Donna or any of the women in West Virginia when I was diagnosed, but um, it's been like a couple of months that we have been in contact. We are in a group together, West Virginia Breast Health Initiative. We are called the Breast Friends. We text pretty much almost every day. We keep in touch. I'm very grateful and fortunate because Like, I just had I had a team, I really did, and, there was multiple fundraisers put together for me and my family, so we're very grateful.
How do you think the importance of having that support team is to someone fighting and surviving cancer?
I think it is very important, you know, I know that there are other women, men
Mhm.
even, who feel the way I am about to say, because I've talked about it. You can be in a room full of people and be surrounded by the people that love you the most, and you still feel alone. That was me. Sometimes I still feel like that because it's hard to explain if you've never been through it. Um, so that's why when I'm feeling that way, I turn to my girls in Charleston because they know what it's like. Um, you know, it's it's different when you have people who love you who don't know what you're feeling rather than someone who knows exactly what you're talking about as soon as you say it. So I think it's very important. In the beginning, it's sometimes it's still overwhelming because things are still happening, but in the beginning it was super overwhelming. With all the messages, all the calls, all the posts. So, I was kind of isolated in the beginning. I didn't like really want to talk to anybody or talk about it. And then, the more I started to find people who understand, put myself out there, get a therapist, I'm very grateful for the support that I have.
Awesome. I see you have your support online. Here's Tabitha. She says, we are grateful for you to allow us in your journey. You have touched us more than you know. And Marsha said, Lauren, you have a bright future ahead of you with educating women about breast cancer and detection.
Thank you, Marsha and Tabitha.
And young women need it because I think hearing it from someone that, in their same age group, it kind of hits different when it's someone that's older, a woman over 40, trying to tell you, at the age of 19 and 20, hey, you need to, be breast self-aware. I think
Right.
it kind of, they'll probably listen because they can identify with you when it comes to that same age group. So the education, the awareness is definitely needed in that age group. Definitely needed.
Oh yeah, like I said, when I was in high school, I never would have thought anything about this. I wouldn't have even guessed that I was going to get breast cancer at 19 years old.
We are live on Intellectual Radio. We are talking to Lauren Gritt. She is a 20-year-old breast cancer survivor diagnosed at the age of 19, and she is sharing her story in the hopes of educating and spreading awareness to not only people in her age group, but people all over, men and women, as well as young people. I'm excited that she is being vulnerable today and she's sharing it with us. So make sure you share the show out to individuals so that they can join in on this survivor story. Lauren, I always talk to individuals about the why me factor when you're going through or when you've been diagnosed with breast cancer. Some people have a why me moment, and then some people have a why not me moment. What was your
Right.
case?
It's definitely changed. In the beginning, I was a why me. I was like, why in the world would I be diagnosed at the age of 19? I was in college, I had a job. I was like just becoming a college student. Like I was getting ready to go on campus and finally get to live the college life. I was getting ready to experience that. So, unfortunately, I had to withdraw from college and quit my job because it was just too much. So I was definitely questioning not only myself but God at times because you often hear bad things happen to good people. I'm not perfect by any means, but I was so young. I'm still young, so sorry. I told myself that wasn't gonna cry, but yeah, I definitely had multiple why me moments. Over the past year, I have said, why not me? Because a good friend, I don't know if she's in here, once said that you're not diagnosed to be punished. You're diagnosed to help somebody. So that opened my eyes because as a young woman, I could possibly save lives if they are just more self-aware. So, yes.
I totally agree. Where was your faith? You mentioned God. Where was your faith before the cancer diagnosis, and where are you right now?
I have always believed in God. You know, I haven't really went to church. I haven't went for a long time. But Tabitha wrote her book, and West Virginia Breast Health Initiative sent me a box, and Tabitha's book was in there. And I told myself that I was going to sit down and read it. And I put it off for a little bit because, you know, at that time I was going to the doctor like every week. So I was having a really bad night one night. And I looked over and I saw Tabitha's book and I picked it up and I came in my room and I started reading it. And I didn't know anything about Tabitha. I didn't know her. I didn't know she was local to me. I knew nothing about her. I just knew her name from the book. So I reached out to her and texted her, and she texted me back and she gave me her phone number. And ever since then, we have stayed in touch. And I told her my story, and I told her, you know, I really just want to get closer to God because, you know, nobody has her back like He does. So when I was telling her that, she was telling me, you know, just talk to Him. She said that she has recently told me that she writes to herself in her journal, and that really spoke to me because I feel like if you can do that, you can also, you know, maybe write it down what you would want to say instead of saying it out loud or praying. So that spoke volume. After that, I started praying every single night. I started reading the Bible. I haven't turned closer to God than I have this past year. You know, like I said in the beginning, I was questioning myself, but now I'm not anymore. I think that, as weird as it sounds, this was actually a blessing in disguise. So yeah.
Tabitha said God has an amazing plan for your life. Your story is powerful.
Yeah, she tells me that often.
I totally agree. When you hear the phrase life after cancer, what comes to mind? Is there such thing?
Sometimes I still am on the line about it. I think the most important thing is to start healing. It's going to be a change because, you know, your body has went through a lot. You have went through a lot. So, it's really just what you make it. You know, things are a lot different for me now. Like I said, I'm not in school and I don't have a job, but I am putting myself out there. I am telling my story. I'm trying to get it out there. I now realize what I was taking for granted. So I think that if you just live your life and you do what you want when you want, because you are allowed to be selfish. That's something that I brought up to my therapist, and he told me that this is my time to be selfish. You know, I have been through a lot, so if you want to take that vacation, you take that vacation. So, yes, I think that you can have a life after cancer.
What do you think are some, and I think you mentioned a couple, like some unique challenges that you face being diagnosed with cancer that you have faced personally?
So, that kind of put me on the spot. I'm about to think about it for a second. I have spoke a couple of places in front of people, and that is not me. I am like a school presentation. I told you earlier, my hands are sweating. I'm nervous, but I think the more I do it, the better I will get and the more confidence I will build. Another thing is I did a breast cancer fashion show in Huntington, West Virginia back in October, I think. And I'm not a pageant girl. I'm not nothing like that. And I went up there and I did the thing. Me and Tabitha recently, and another friend of ours recently went to North Carolina for a young survivor retreat, and they had a fashion show there too, and me and Tabitha did it. And I think the more I'm putting myself out there, the more I like to do this stuff. Like I said, that was never my forte ever. So those are a couple challenges that I've had to face. I think a big one is having cancer at 19, honestly. I think that's one of the biggest because I had to learn how to live with cancer.
How to navigate around your life. I know you mentioned the school, you were starting college and work, and how now your focus is different.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that you can't ever do those things, but like right now the focus is different, especially when your health is at stake. So being that young and last thing on your mind is being sick.
Oh, yeah.
You think about someone getting cancer, like somebody older, not when you're at the peak of your life. But I'm glad to see that sometimes with cancer, it does come these little gifts that cancer drops off, that it pulls out of you things that you didn't know you could do, you never thought of doing, and here you are doing those very things, and you're blessing other people. So I wanted to know, have you ever experienced a defining moment in your cancer journey that made you go, wow?
I think that moment was honestly when I went to North Carolina, because like I said, I'm talking about wanting to share my story, but I didn't realize until that moment how powerful the story is. I think about it all the time that it's important because girls my age or boys, um, they need to be aware. It's so important to be aware because, you know, um, you can save your own life. That's what my doctors told me. If I wouldn't have found that lump or my breast, I probably wouldn't be here. So I definitely saved my own life. I think it's just realizing that I have a testimony, and I think the more time that I spend with Tabitha and the girls in Charleston, I realize I really do have a story to tell. So.
Yes, and Tabitha said, by the way, you rocked the runway.
So did you.
Yes, I think your story is powerful. I think a lot of times when we hear our own story, because we hear it so much and we tell it to ourselves, we think that, oh, my story is so boring. And, but when somebody else hears it, they like, oh my God, like, wow, you went through that. So yes, I would say keep sharing your story. It's a powerful story. so many women, young women, need to hear the story, because you're catching them at a crucial point in their life to where they could start these healthy habits of being breast self-aware and carry it with them well into their 40s and their 50s. So I think it's a great time to start spreading the message and not wait until you're 40 and then push that mammogram. It's
Right.
important to be proactive about your health. I wanted you to talk a little bit about the West Virginia Breast Health Initiative, like exactly what it's about and how can people support it or be involved in it.
Oh my goodness, yes, I would be glad to explain it. Okay, so West Virginia Breast Health Initiative is a nonprofit organization in Charleston, West Virginia. Um, my executive director, Donna, she reached out to me. I don't know exactly. It's been, it was sometime last year, and I didn't know who she was. I don't know how she found me. I have no clue. But she messaged me and she said, if you need anything, I'm here for you. All you have to do is ask. I'm not the type of person to ask for help if I need it. I'm the type of person to struggle until I'm like, okay, can you help me? So, I just said, nice to meet you. Thank you for reaching out. I didn't say anything about needing help. I didn't ask her. And I got a call one day from my friend Patty. She is also a breast cancer survivor, and she is also part of West Virginia Breast Health. So she called me and she said, Lauren, she said, you need to take Donna's help. And I said, I'm not that type. And she said, I know. She said, I wasn't either. She said, but you need to ask her for help if you need it. And I said, okay. So I called Donna and I said, can you help me? And she said, I'm so glad you asked. So, she gave me resources that I needed. She gave me gas cards that I needed because gas isn't cheap. And I'm now driving 3 hours away just to go to the doctor. So, it was important that she was there for me, not even knowing her, just a stranger who wanted to help. She also helps my breasties, I should say, in the comments there. We are also getting ready to travel the state of West Virginia, and we will be sharing our stories and talking about mammograms and giving free mammograms if they're eligible. And so I think she's working on that. That's something we're getting ready to start doing. So that's exciting because I love to travel and I love telling my story and hanging out with those girls. They're so fun. We also have a 5K coming up in May, and we are going to be raising money for mammograms, education, just West Virginia in general. So it's just a nonprofit that is there for you if you need anything at all.
Awesome. Sound like they doing a lot of good in the community.
Oh,
And
yes.
who doesn't want to travel?
Right. I love traveling.
So, Lauren, I have enjoyed your testimony, your journey, your wisdom. I'm looking forward to some great things from you, and I know this is not going to be our last time connecting. So I'm excited. Thanks to Tabitha. Her fight is definitely our fight. I want to wrap this up, but I want you to give some words of wisdom to some young person that may be out there that may have just gotten diagnosed, and also throw in being a breast self-aware.
Okay, so like I said, you could be sitting in a room full of people and you feel absolutely alone. You're not. I promise you're not. I promise there is somebody out there who feels exactly like you do. So it's okay to put yourself out there and join a support group. It's okay to make friends because those are going to be some of your best friends. Um, my girls in Charleston have saved me more times than I can even say because they're just simply there for me. They make me laugh until I cry, and I need it. I think it's important to surround yourself with people who understand. I also think it's important that you are self-aware. At 19 years old, you would not think that you're going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. So, there's nothing wrong with self-examination. There's nothing, it's not weird. It's not like just, when you're getting in the shower, occasionally self-examination. That's all you have to do. I think it's also important that men are aware too, because when you hear breast cancer, you think of women automatically. At least I did when I was younger. So that's important too, because you can get breast cancer just as well as a female can. Um, it does not discriminate whatsoever. So I think it's just important, and that's all I have for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. Tabitha said, we love you. They're excited about your story. I think it's pronounced Mooney, Mooney.
Yeah, Mooney.
She said, yes, indeed, we love you. And then Kenya said, that's what it's all about, uplifting each other. My sisters rock. Thanks again, Lauren. I appreciate you for sharing your story, and for all the individuals that are listening. Remember to share this show out. Warriors Talk is excited about their listeners, and we appreciate your feedback. Stay tuned. Coming up next on Intellectual Radio is The People Show with Mark Wallace and Charles Thomas. So please don't go anywhere. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Cancer is not a death sentence, but it is an awakening to live your best life. So join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, Warriors Talk is changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.